Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Oral Communication Presentations, and I'm Professor Mike. And as you can see, we're doing today's lesson from my home, actually. So I'm sitting here in the Detska Izba, and yeah, I don't know how long we're going to be here at home. Hopefully, it's only going to be just for 1 week, and maybe next week I'll be back in the office and I'll be able to to do these shows from my office again. But that's okay. I don't mind being at home. It's actually quite comfy. It's not that bad, actually. I think I could probably get used to it as well. So anyway, so we're coming up to I was going to say, what are we coming up to? We're coming up to Halloween, which is this weekend, and of course, it's not going to be much of a Halloween or All Saints Day, as it's also called. At least Sunday is when we go visiting the cemeteries and pay respect to people who've passed away, people in our lives, and so on. However, though, this week it looks like, or this weekend, it's just going to be this entire territorial, celoploshne, testing. And I mean, I'm here, but, at home. I'm probably going to find out sometime where and when I can go. I think I know when, but I have no idea where I'm supposed to go to get tested this weekend. But that's okay. Somebody will tell me here in the building. So anyway, I had some questions actually earlier this week about the video presentations, and I'd like to talk to you about that. So the first question, and actually the only question really that I can think of that I should answer to everybody via video, is regarding your presentations. Okay, so if you're going to do it face to face, okay, so that could be a problem if we're going to be sent home after next week and we're going to go on hard lockdown, okay? So, and if that is the case, you have to keep in mind and be prepared that we're not going to be able to go back to the faculty. And if that happens, then you're going to have to make your presentation video format. Okay, so if that doesn't happen, don't panic. I'm still, I'm still thinking, or I still have many ideas at least going on in my head about what we can do in case we do go to hard lockdown. So if we don't, okay, well, next week, next Thursday, November 5th is the first date, basically, that we would have presentations. If that is a problem, I'm going to send you an email at the beginning of next week, and we'll try and delay things, okay, until we can go back to the faculty. But if not, then everybody's going to have to do it video, like a video presentation. So that leads me to question number 2, okay? Some people were under the impression that you would do your presentation live, like you would do it, for me, like via Zoom or Skype or something like that. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to like during the day at least, to watch so many presentations. As much as I'd love to, that would be fantastic. It's just not going to happen. I've got almost 70 students registered for this course alone. So I'd rather you film it, okay, record it, please. And you can send it to me. It's going to be a big file, so you'll have to put it on Google Drive or Uložto or some cloud where I'll have access to it. And, I can download it at home, because what happened actually during the first lockdown in the spring was, fortunately, it was summer semester, so I didn't have too many students in the presentations class. So, but I was able to watch the video or the presentation at least a couple times if I needed to, and I could also watch it, in the evening or the weekend. I generally, Sunday afternoon, I spend a lot of time marking papers and things like that. So that's usually a good time for me to catch up and watch the video presentations as well. So okay, so hopefully that's going to clear up a few things. Okay, so uh, all the video presentations, if you're going to make a video presentation, record it and submit it to some cloud and give me the link and I can go and access it. Okay, and then afterwards, after I've watched your video and made my comments, you can erase it all. You can just vmaz that, and it's done. Okay, so I don't have access to it anymore or anything like that. All right. Okay, so let's go into today's presentation. I guess presentation, but today's lecture on presentations. And I want to go through some tips, basically, things that will help you with your presentation, okay? Some of it is for in-class and some of it can be used for video. All right, let's go right into the lecture. Okay, so let's review just a few things here. So before you begin your presentation, I mean, it's paramount. It's so important that you are prepared, okay? So that means you need to rehearse your presentation, okay? So think about this. How do you feel about filming yourself? Well, believe me, it's not very easy, okay? I don't like filming myself at all, but this is digital age. The COVID-19 has taught us that we need to do these either video seminars, webinars, even like a YouTube channel that I've got going here right now. This is the new age, and we have to, I think we all need to be prepared in one way or another. So like whatever is going to happen in our lives, whether we work for a business or another school, another research institute, we are going to have to film ourselves, and we're going to have to send these, these presentations, to other people to watch, whether we do it live or whether we do it, whether we record it. So think about this. Try filming yourself, even if you want to do the face-to-face presentation. Film yourself anyways. It gives you a great idea of what you look like, what you sound like. Okay, and you can make those corrections. All right, think about pronunciation. How do you check pronunciation, okay, or pronunciation of keywords? I'm going to give you a couple of ideas. So one particular website that I really like is called HowJSay. I'm just going to raise this up here. Okay, so it's HowJSay.com. Okay, so just put a .com there at the bottom, or after HowJSay. And basically, when you come to the page, all you really need to do, everything is right there. So I've already put in the word determine. Actually, I was just checking it just to make sure I've got everything, if I have it right. So this is a popular word, though, determine. I hear it pronounced badly all the time. Many people say determine, okay? So when you have words like this, just go to HowJSay, put it in, okay? Hit enter or browse or something like that. And you've got not only do you have the word determine, you've got the past tense, you have the adverb, okay? You have the state and so on, okay? So you have all the variations of the word determine, okay? You can define it, you can translate it, but if you want the pronunciation, just go over to the play button.
Determine.
Isn't that nice? Very nice British accent.
Determine.
Okay, and you can go to all of them.
Determined. Determiner. Determinedness.
Okay, so that gives you an idea, okay? And make sure, all the words like, okay, so we have determine, okay, but then we have combine. Let me get that out of the way there. Okay, never combinate. I hear that all the time. So don't say combinate, it's combine. Okay, and what has happened there? Oh, let me go back there. Combined. Oh, I pressed the home button, that's why. Okay, so if we go to combine, let's go here.
Combine verb. Combine noun.
Okay, so he said it's both the verb and
Combine verb. Combine noun.
okay, combine noun. Remember, when it's a noun, that's okay. A noun is a combination. Okay. In this case, he's talking about the farm machine combine. Okay. So, anyways, let's go on. I don't want you to get too confused.
Combined.
Okay.
Combines noun. Combines verb.
Okay, so he's telling you here about the combines, okay, the farm machines. Okay, so if you're a YouTuber like me, all right, you can even go to YouTube. Okay, so just put the word in, for example, elucidate, and right away you have something here called pronunciation. Okay, so you can go to any of these ones. Okay, this one here is 1 minute. You just need one of the shorter ones here.
Pronunciation. Elucidate. Elucidate. It is a verb.
Okay, so that's another way you can check your pronunciation. Okay, so back to our PowerPoint presentation here, our PowerPoint lecture, okay? A couple other things you should also do is, well, of course, time yourself, okay? But also make a checklist, which I have already at the back of the book, and I'll just go over to it right now. If you remember, kind of at the beginning of this course, I asked you to go back and look over at the presentation feedback form, okay? You need to, a really good thing, of course, is to organize everything, okay? So I think I asked you to do this, just write down, the date and time. When you put everything down on paper, it gives you a good idea of, what you're basically going to be dealing with. So, for example, equipment required. So I'll need a computer. Okay, what else will I need? I'll probably need a pointer. Okay, something, the red dot, that or laser pointer, I guess it's called. Maybe I'll need some handouts, something like that. Think about your audience, okay? Think about how many people, think about all that stuff. Like, you're trying to put yourself into their shoes, okay? Like, do I know them well? Okay, like how comfortable am I going to be with these people? Do I know any of them? Like, is it also an international audience? Like, are there going to be people from other parts of the world? Okay. And the reason I put that there, okay, is because you're going to have to, really either, you're going to have to adjust your English so it's neutral for everybody, okay? So if you're doing a presentation in English, but for people from your own country who have a very similar accent, so it might be very easy for them to understand you. But keep in mind, it might not be that easy for people from other countries. Think of the average age of the audience, okay? Are they young people, okay? Are they old people like myself, even older? Think about your content, your main points that you're going to be talking about, your visuals. And over here, okay, you can also go right into your introduction, okay? So you can have like a little, write a script, how you're going to introduce yourself, okay, your function, your department, how you're going to welcome them, okay? People panic, people get frightened, and it might be morning, and you've written good evening, okay? So remember, that's why you need to, keep in mind the date and the time of the presentation. Will it be morning or will it be afternoon? All right. Also, you want to have that rhetorical question, okay? It's a question that doesn't require an answer. Say why your topic is important for the audience, for the world, everybody like that as well. Okay. Now, those three main points, of course, you're going to describe the structure of the presentation. Remember, you have three main points, okay? But you're going to have subpoints as well, subheadings, okay? So you don't want to overload your audience at all, okay? All right, so of course there are some rules, okay, about asking questions, okay? So even write down, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to leave all questions until the end of my presentation. You also need to tell your audience how long the presentation will take, okay? People enjoy knowing how long, a lecture or a presentation is going to be. Okay, so just tell them for the next 10 minutes, or ladies and gentlemen, for the next 10 minutes, I will be presenting to you, or I will be talking to you about something or another. All right, handouts. Handouts are also extremely important. You don't have to do it, but if you have a lot of difficult words, okay, that people just don't understand, or if you want to have some more explanation in detail, okay, even some pictures, okay, a handout is always great because you can also, you just put everything on one paper. You can put your email address, okay, your contact information as well, okay. You never know who's going to be in the audience, okay. Somebody might want to cooperate with you. Somebody might want to offer you a job, okay? So having your contact information on a handout is great, okay? So if you have 50 people coming to your presentation, you might want to leave the handouts, okay? Or, like you can, with 50 people, that's a lot to actually hand them out. So leave a pile of them on the desk, by the entrance or exit, okay? So you can tell them where they can pick one up, what they can expect to read on them as well. All right, your main part, okay? So you need to always talk about, the objectives, okay? So what your topic is, of course, but what the objectives are. And here in your organization, you've got main point 1, main point 2, main point 3, all right? And key words, you need to repeat them over and over, okay? The more time you repeat them, the better, okay? Think about your graphs, your visuals. This is what we talked about last week, okay? And now also signal the end of the main part that you're coming to, towards the conclusion. Okay, so the same thing, signal that you're approaching the end of your presentation, but you want to make a summary of all the key points, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, today I spoke about, and then the three main points, okay? All right, so you can highlight one of your main points, okay? One of them is probably more important than the other two. Explain why it is so important, and then make your final statement, okay? So remember, your final statement, okay, it could also be something rhetorical, all right? It can also be, again, just like your paper, okay, that, further research is still necessary, okay? Think of the advantages, disadvantages, okay? Think about how it affects your, fellow researchers, how it affects the world. And then you're going to, of course, invite questions, okay? So say, thank you very much for coming to my presentation, or thank you very much for your attention. At this point, if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them at this moment. All right, now, when you end, something I see very often, okay, is that people go and they turn off the projector, okay? No. Don't turn off your projector. Leave the last slide up, while you answer the questions, okay? Because your last slide, if you're using a PowerPoint, okay, or Prezi or anything, okay, whatever is displayed behind you, it's going to provoke thought, okay? All right, and this, it's a great way of thanking the audience for their attention, okay? All right, then. So also with questions then, okay, if you want to make an effective conclusion, end your presentation with a question or even a quote by somebody famous, okay? You can call the audience to action, okay? To a výzva, okay? Výzivat. Výzvat, I don't know. And because you want them to feel empowered, okay, that they have the right, že oni majú nárok, they can do something about it. All right, and of course with questions, what questions can I expect? We're going to deal with this next week, actually, next week's presentation, okay? But think about all the questions that people might want to ask you, okay? So you write it down and prepare it, okay? You have an answer, okay? You know the answer, okay? But if you don't answer the question effectively, okay, then the audience or the questioner, the person asking the question, is still going to feel confused, okay? So when you see the answer, okay, or when you write down the answer to your question, have somebody else look at it, okay? So even somebody, a member of your family, and ask them, does this make any sense? And if it does, great, just leave it there. Your answer needs to be simple, okay? All right, then, so you can do it like this, okay? And also the very last page is a feedback form, okay? So, of course, you're going to be evaluated on your presentation. I've got here just like really 7 points here, okay? So, for example, it was clear the speaker used their voice well, okay? So these are the 5 things that you're going to need to think about. This is I like, and this is how they can improve. So think about your voice, your organization, your body language, the visual aids, okay? Pictures, slides. If you, what have I done there? Hang on. If you come into the presentation, okay, you can or do a face-to-face or even a video presentation. You can show, actually demonstrate some things in the laboratory. If you're a geologist, show those rocks, show, the minerals and rocks and things like that, okay? If you're a geographer, show drone footage, anything like that, okay? There are so many things that fascinate the audience. The more you show them, the equipment that you use or the samples that you actually have, the better your audience is going to understand it, and the more interesting, your presentation will become, okay? And also think about the relevant vocabulary and terms, okay? So again, like determine and combine, okay? Those types of words. Don't say determine, don't say combinate. Okay, at this point, I want to show you a couple of videos of good presentations versus bad presentations, okay? They're kind of funny, but at the same time, they're kind of sad. And the fact is, all of us do that when we make a presentation. We make mistakes. This is something I do. Okay, so when you watch somebody else doing a presentation and they make mistakes that are a little bit irritating, or you can't avoid focusing on those mistakes, well, you yourself, may be at fault as well. So I'm going to show you 2 presentations, and they're quite simple. All you need to do is just keep in mind that you yourself may make similar mistakes. Let's go right in.
Sorry I'm running out of minutes. What you got, a pen tomorrow? The water's gonna warm up. That's just nature. Okay, the molecules start going back. Hello? Oh yeah, I'm free. So like, once the sun, comes out, it kind of like makes the plankton grow, and
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Those repetitive words like, okay, or or okay. You have to be very careful of things like that.
enhance phytoplankton growth, enhance DMS production. That basically means that it's just moving.
Okay, even speaking in the monotone voice, don't sound like a robot.
Enhance phytoplankton growth. Back to the left. Enhance DMS production. Up. Elevate DMS connection. Makes the plankton grow, and then after the plankton grows, it enhances DMS production, which kind of.
Hi guys, my name is Daniel Quinn. I'm thankful that you guys can all make it today. I have a presentation shortly that's coming up. It's about phytoplankton, molecules, and a lot of generalizations in city populations. So, you know what? I'm going to turn off my cell phone real quick. Sorry guys. Just do that. Alright, so we're going to be talking about Claude hypothesis. So as you can see, when we have more increased sunlight, that goes into the ocean, and that makes the ocean warm up a lot more. As the ocean warms a lot more, we have enhanced phytoplankton growth, and then that leads to enhanced DMS production. Because of that, we can have enhanced phytoplankton growth. This is very important for the wildlife in the sea, and after it goes down to the ocean, warms up the ocean, and as you can see, you can follow this path here, and it goes into enhanced phytoplankton growth, which eventually leads to enhanced DMS production. You guys can follow the whole cycle on this handout that I have here. It has the whole loop that we're going to be going through. We're going to start off with the sunlight here that goes down into here.
Okay, so here's another one. Just watch how the girl makes this terrible presentation. Okay, so she's not prepared. Okay, the computer's not working.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about paraphrasing.
Wow, look at that. This is terrible. The red and the black.
About why we use
Oh.
references, differences between quotes and paraphrasing, and how to paraphrase.
By the way, I've got the volume up pretty loud, and I can't hear her at all.
There are three main reasons why it's important to use references. Validate your point of view, plagiarism, source of future investigation.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Oh.
So there's two ways to reference text: quotes, paraphrasing. A quotation is when you use another author's statement in your assignment without changing it. Quotations should be used selectively and kept to a minimum. Quotation should not be overly long. Paraphrasing is when you write about a source you have read using your own words. There's more to paraphrasing than just changing around two words from the original source.
Oh,
Paraphrasing
jeez.
shows your understanding to the reader.
All right, I'm just going to fast forward this a little bit.
Defined to be used when using the ideas and
Oh,
opinions of
boy,
others.
this is just terrible.
The original source can be easily located. What do you think about this one?
I think that one.
Anyway, so this
Oh,
is much better. As
okay.
you can see, I've tried to
All right. So first of all, she asked, what do you think of this one? Okay, you shouldn't ask your audience anything really during your presentation. And not only that, I mean, the student tried to answer, and she wouldn't even let him answer.
Concept to fully understand. You can see that the author's surname and date is there.
Okay, so I mean, using a pointer or something would have been the best thing to do at that point. She just said, you can see the author and date up there. So, I mean, she didn't really, I mean, you need to show people exactly where to look. Okay, so you can see the name and the date, or you can see the conclusion.
Okay, conclusion.
Oh, I gotta, okay.
Said completely in your own words. You must still give credit to the person whose idea you're using when paraphrasing by referencing. Got questions?
Oh,
Okay.
wow, isn't that terrible? Okay. All right, I'll leave it. Okay, so watching both of those videos were, I felt, sick actually watching them. The first video, the guy was way too informal, let's say. I mean, he answered the telephone. He, he spoke to the screen. He wasn't dressed appropriately or anything. So he was just way too relaxed. Okay, so I mean, if you come across way too relaxed, you don't come across professional, and it's just telling the audience that you don't really care all that much about your topic. Okay, remember, you've worked really hard, you've studied this. Okay, and you're trying to explain to people, and very often people who you don't know, something very important, and you're trying to convince them that your ideas, that your opinions, everything that you've researched is valid, and it's important for them to know it and to understand it. Now with the second video, it's not so much that the girl was informal. I mean, she didn't seem nervous or anything like that, but she came in very unprepared, and she also, at least I felt that she was very indifferent, okay, to the audience, okay, very lahostajny is as you would say in Slovak. So I mean, not only was she, I mean, not only was she unprepared, she just really didn't care. She didn't care about her own presentation, and also she just didn't care about the audience. Okay, so these are things that you need to be careful about. All right, I want to go back to the book for a moment. I want to look at Appendix A, because I've got some tips there that I think you guys will benefit from what's written there. Okay. Anyways, if you can go back to the book, to Appendix A, I'm going to show it here anyways, and you can see some of the things, at least from my experience, that helped me make better presentations. Okay, so if you go to, just as I said, Appendix A, all right, so here are some tips that will just kind of make things a little bit easier for you. Okay, so once you've organized everything, when you actually need to go and do your presentation, okay, the key really is to minimize all the problems and stresses, okay, your nervousness, before you actually do the presentation. Okay, so for example, you need to check the equipment. Okay, you need to make sure that the computer is working first of all, just like the girl. She didn't check her either her PowerPoint was not compatible. Okay, remember that happens a lot. If you're doing PowerPoint and you have an older version of PowerPoint, but sometimes it won't fit with like Windows 10. Okay, you need to check everything else, even around the room. Okay, check the lighting, check the electrical cords, really all the kabelki. Okay, because if you're walking around the room or if you're standing near a cable, it's very possible that you will kick it with your foot, okay? You need to check the noise levels outside, okay? Whether the window can be open or closed. The whiteboard markers, the Fixki, make sure that you can use them, that they're not dry, they're not suhi. Make sure if you're using the flip chart, if there is enough paper in it. You need to check yourself too. Did I have breakfast? Okay. Check your teeth. Okay. If you're like me and you eat poppy seed cake, the makovi kolach, you're going to have all these kind of like shkrani and things like that. Okay. In your teeth. So be careful about that. All right. Your introduction, okay, always, like welcome the audience, okay, we know all that. Keep your structure clear and very simple, okay. Really, the more simple your presentation is structured, the better your presentation is going to be because more focus will be on you, okay. All right, so remember interaction with the audience, okay? Sometimes you're going to speak to them. I mean, like question answer during the presentation. Most often you aren't, okay? But nevertheless, so you need to acknowledge, everybody, okay? Eye contact with everybody, as many people as you can. All right, your tempo, okay? How fast are you going? How slow are you going? Okay, are you speaking? All right, you don't want to talk too slowly, okay? All right, here are some more tips. Bring somebody with you, okay? Now, it sounds like it's cheating, but it's not though, okay? If you have somebody who knows you and who can sit there from time to time, you can look over at your friend, okay, for any kind of help. Okay, for example, pointing at the wrist when they are running out of time. Okay, so here, let me put on my watch. I'm not wearing it today, okay? But your friend can also indicate, time. Watch out for the time, okay? All right, then. A friend can also help you at the end of your before I do that, actually, your friend can help you with words if you forget something, okay? We call this person a prompter, okay? I think you call it in Slovak šepkar, somebody who, if you are stuck or if you forget something, they will whisper, okay? They will šepkat, determine, combine. Ah, yes, thank you. So we combined, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so if you have somebody there that will, just to kind of help you in case you forget a word or something like that as well. All right, and finally, the biggest problem is when you come to the end of your presentation and the audience does not ask any questions. This is very, very awkward, very, very trapne. Okay, so your friend can have a question already prepared, okay? So, and you might ask yourself, is this cheating? Well, no, actually it isn't, because you are motivating the audience to ask follow-up questions, okay? Remember, people can be shy, all right? People, they want to ask a question, but they worry that, well, maybe their question is going to be stupid or it's just not a good question. So if you have somebody, okay, let me bring this up here. Okay, if you have a friend who's going to ask one or two questions, well, it motivates discussion. Okay, it evokovat discussion, diskucja. Okay, so a friend can also help you answer a difficult question as well. Okay, so sometimes, somebody asks you something. You just can't think of the correct answer at that moment. Your friend, okay, or your colleague, okay, somebody who knows your subject as well, can also, they can step in and help you. All right, then. Look here, use silence to emphasize a point. Okay. Silence is wonderful, just like David J.P. Phillips said, okay? Time to time, pause, let people reflect and think about it, okay? One of my favorite speakers was the ex-president Barack Obama, okay? Compared to Donald Trump, especially, but Donald Trump just does not know how to speak, but Barack Obama does, okay? He uses many, many pauses, okay? But his answers or anything that he says, okay, is already organized and well thought. He's already thinking of answers to questions that have not been asked, but he knows that people are going to ask them.
Has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead.
The United States launched a targeted operation against that compound.
They did a lot of shooting, and they did a lot of blasting, even not going through the front door. You know, you think you go through the door. If you're a normal person, you say, knock, knock, may I come in?
After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body.
He died like a dog.
But his death does not mark the end of our effort.
A beautiful dog. A talented dog.
We give thanks for the men who carried out this operation.
And I don't get any credit for this, but that's okay. I never do. But here we are.
May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
And I'm writing a book. We're going to 12 books. All did very well.
That's a very good example of a great speaker, Barack Obama. His voice it's very commanding. It's very serious, okay? He's got that deep voice. He talks about everything very clearly. And he also pauses between points. I sound more like Donald Trump, actually, than Barack Obama. But that takes practice. So Barack Obama has done, he is a real politician, whereas Donald Trump, of course, was more of a TV personality and a business person before entering politics, which was only about 5 years ago. So so definitely Barack Obama has had a lot of experience making speeches and answering questions and talking to journalists and the public as well. Anyways, I'm just going to go right back into the to the PowerPoint presentation that I started at the beginning of today's lesson, and I'm going to go through a few more things that you can do to actually spice up your presentation as well. So again, you got to be careful about your physical health as well, because think about what you do in the evening, okay, the night before your presentation. You can do a rehearsal, but don't stay up late and practicing it or anything like that. Think about also the morning of your presentation. When you wake up that morning, go over your notes. Of course, that's no problem. Because you're just waking up, all right? So your brain cells are also just becoming active, and try to look at your notes, especially at that time, because even later during the day, if your presentation is in the afternoon, you'll remember it better from just looking at things fresh, right in the morning. Okay. Always have the picture of your topic displayed, okay, at the beginning of your presentation, okay? So you can welcome your we know all this. I just went through it. Okay. What about if you get frightened and you freeze up, okay? What about those difficult questions, okay? You have to always keep all that stuff in mind, okay? Always interact, explain things, okay? Try to read the emotion of your audience, okay? If they look confused, take an extra moment and repeat what you said. Try to think of easier terminology, easier words to help them along. All right, so if you're going to, if you want some I guess, to some help and make your presentation a little bit more exciting, you can do this elimination, okay, vylučit. You have everybody stand up. You can ask, are there any smokers in the room? Hang on. And if so, if there are any smokers, then they should all sit down, okay? You can ask, are there any meat eaters? Okay, so the people who are still standing, well, you'll get some people who will sit down. So you're going to get fewer and fewer people standing, okay? You can ask, are there any drinkers? Oh, okay, at this point you might get everybody sitting down, but you might not, okay? See, at this point, then, you have either everybody sitting down, everyone's laughing, and they feel good, and because you're thinking, well, or they're thinking your topic is about health and, all the bad habits are going to kill you, okay? But again, you can look here, like you can show some statistics. Who lived the longest or the shortest? Actually, this is about 3 years old, okay? So this is Gillian McKeith, and she's a health guru, okay, in the BBC in Britain, okay? She's the same age as this woman here. This is Nigella Lawson. Nigella is one of my favorite chefs, okay? She eats butter, meat, chocolate, and desserts, also washed down with copious amounts of wine. Copious is like a Czech word, like sposta, okay? Spusta, I guess, in Slovak. Okay, so this is one way of having your audience have some fun, and you're emphasizing your point that even though like maybe you're, like you can be physically healthy, okay, you fruits and vegetables, organic, detox, okay, all that kind of stuff. You may be, physically look better, because of your internal happiness. At least this is what I like to believe. Okay, so contradictions, okay, these protiklady, okay, they're often great ways of, contrast is extremely important, okay? So remember the presentation on plants with Stefano Marcuso, okay? So his was a great presentation, and he showed that plants are extremely important. All right, then you can do the telephone game if you're doing something about communication, right? Somebody whispers something into somebody's ear, and then it goes around the room, and you can show how things get lost in translation or through communication. Trivia is fun, okay? People love trivia, okay? Especially when I talk about Canada, okay? We know it's an exporter of maple syrup, Yavorovi syrup, but it's also the largest exporter of, what is it, A, B, or C? B, okay? Yeah, Canada exports the most blueberries in the world as well. Try 2 truths and a lie. That's a great one, okay? You write down 3 points, okay? 2 points are true, but 1 is not. And the audience can ask you questions about each point. So you can even use this at the end of your questions and answers, okay? You don't want to walk away from your presentation without, questions and answers. So if your audience is quiet, and you don't have a friend there, you can do this, okay? You can ask the audience questions, and you can do it in this way as well, okay? So ask them, what do you remember? So if you're talking about the Stefano, if you're talking about the exports from Canada, okay? So for example, you can even put it in that form, okay? So Canada exports which one, okay? Is it cranberries, blueberries, or strawberries? So it's a great way for, review of your presentation. Yeah, okay. Or again, here's another Canadian thing, the Canadian fairy tale, Anne of Green Gables, right? Anna Zozella Neodomo. You can ask them, well, Green Gables exists today. Uh, the character Anne is based on the life of the author Lucy Maud Montgomery, and Lucy Maud Montgomery used to live there. So actually, these are the 3 points here, okay? So in fact, actually, the correct answer is Green Gables exists today. Oh, and I don't have any picture. Guys, I'm just going to leave it for today, basically. I think I've talked enough and everything. So I've got to upload all this, and I've got a Zoom lesson for the debates and discussions people. Anyway, so just to recap everything, these are some ways that, tips that might help you with your presentation, things that will spice things up. Remember, organization is key, okay? It's so important to have everything organized. Okay, I'll get back to you as soon as I know what's going to happen next week, whether we can go back to the faculty. I mean, nobody knows. Even the dean doesn't know at this point. Well, we have to see what's going to happen with the testing this week, and whether the government decides to put us back into full lockdown or not. So next week, as soon as we get a clearer picture or a clearer idea of what is going to happen, whether we can go back to the faculty or not, I'll send you an email and give you some ideas. Okay, so it is a possibility that those who are going to present on November 5th, either we have to postpone it to later in November, or you're going to have to make a video presentation as well. But we'll figure that out next week then. Okay, everybody, have a great rest of the week, okay? Remember, you can send me an email anytime if you have any questions whatsoever. I apologize if you need to write me 2 or 3 times. It happens. I have a lot of questions and inquiries from all my other students, and so every now and then I might miss one of the emails. Okay, take care of yourselves. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.